You need to hear this if you're someone who struggles with making decisions. Our minds are capable of great things. We build civilizations, explore space, and create beautiful art. But our minds also harbor a dark side, a labyrinth of hidden traps that can lead us to make irrational, even dangerous decisions. This is the realm of cognitive biases, manipulation, and crowd psychology, where our better judgment is often clouded by unseen forces. This essay delves into the unsettling reality of why we make bad decisions. We'll explore the science behind our flawed thinking, from cognitive shortcuts to the persuasive techniques used to sway our opinions. We'll journey into the heart of crowd psychology, understanding how group dynamics can diminish our individual rationality. By shining a light on these dark corners of human psychology, we can begin to understand the forces that shape our choices. This knowledge is not about dwelling in negativity, but about empowering ourselves. By recognizing these pitfalls, we can learn to navigate them, making more informed, rational decisions in all aspects of our lives. This is a journey into the depths of our own minds, an exploration of the flaws that make us human. But it is also a journey of hope, for in understanding our weaknesses, we gain the power to overcome them. Our brains, for all their complexity, are inherently lazy. They crave efficiency, constantly seeking shortcuts to conserve energy. This drive for cognitive ease gives rise to cognitive biases, systematic errors in thinking that deviate from logic and rationality. These biases are not occasional glitches. They are ingrained in our neural circuitry, influencing our perceptions and judgments every day. One such bias is confirmation bias, our tendency to favor information that confirms our existing beliefs while ignoring evidence that contradicts them. This bias can lead us to make poor decisions by blinding us to alternative perspectives and reinforcing our preconceived notions even when they are wrong. Another common pitfall is anchoring bias, where we rely too heavily on the first piece of information we receive, the anchor, when making decisions. For example, if we're negotiating a price, the initial offer, even if unreasonable, can anchor our perception of a fair price. These biases, along with many others, highlight the inherent limitations of human rationality. We are not always the logical, objective thinkers we believe ourselves to be. By understanding these cognitive pitfalls, we can begin to recognize their influence on our decision-making and take steps to mitigate their impact. Cognitive biases are like mental shortcuts, mental rules of thumb that our brains use to simplify complex information and make quick decisions. While these shortcuts can be helpful in some situations, they can also lead to systematic errors in our thinking, distorting our perceptions and leading to poor judgments. Consider the availability heuristic, a bias where we judge the likelihood of an event based on how easily examples come to mind. If we've recently seen news reports about shark attacks, we might overestimate the probability of being attacked ourselves, even though statistically it's incredibly rare. Another pervasive bias is the framing effect, where the way information is presented or framed can dramatically influence our choices. For example, people are more likely to choose a medical treatment with a 70% survival rate than one with a 30% mortality rate, even though both convey the same information. These biases highlight the often irrational nature of human decision-making. Our judgments are easily swayed by irrelevant factors, such as the vividness of information or the way it is framed. By becoming aware of these biases, we can start to deconstruct their influence on our thinking and make more objective, reasoned choices. Section 4. The Puppet Master's Manipulation and Persuasion. Our susceptibility to cognitive biases makes us vulnerable to manipulation. Skilled manipulators, whether consciously or unconsciously, exploit these biases to influence our thoughts and actions, often for their own benefit. They understand the levers of human psychology and use them to steer us towards desired outcomes. One common manipulation technique is the foot-in-the-door technique, where someone starts with a small, seemingly harmless request to gain compliance, and then gradually escalates the requests. This technique preys on our desire for consistency and our aversion to appearing disagreeable. Another tactic is the scarcity principle, where something is perceived as more desirable when it is presented as limited or scarce. This technique creates a sense of urgency and fear of missing out, leading people to make impulsive decisions. Limited time offers and exclusive deals are prime examples of this principle in action. By understanding these manipulative tactics, we can become more discerning consumers of information and more resistant to undue influence. Recognizing the subtle cues of manipulation empowers us to make choices based on our own values and judgments, rather than being swayed by the agendas of others. Section 5. Tricked by design: how our environment deceives us. Our physical and digital environments are often designed to exploit our cognitive biases and vulnerabilities, subtly nudging us towards specific choices. This choice architecture, as it's called, can have a profound impact on our behavior, often without our conscious awareness. Consider the layout of supermarkets. Essential items like milk and bread are often placed at the back of the store, forcing shoppers to navigate through aisles of tempting snacks and impulse buys. This strategic placement capitalizes on our tendency to make impulsive decisions when we're hungry or distracted. Similarly, social media platforms are designed to keep us engaged, often at the expense of our well-being. Notifications, endless scrolling feeds, and algorithms that prioritize engaging content all contribute to information overload and a constant sense of urgency. These design choices exploit our innate desire for social connection and our susceptibility to addiction. By becoming aware of how our environment influences our choices, we can start to regain control over our decision-making. We can choose to shop the perimeter of the supermarket, limit our social media consumption, and create physical and digital spaces that support our well-being.